Hi, this is Tim Brien from Brien's Business Umbrella, a national virtual business advisory firm working in the cloud but located physically in Buffalo, New York. And I offer my clients and business partners strategic solutions to their unique needs via back office platforms such as controllership, accounting, payroll, tax planning, strategic pricing, and other high-value services such as that. This is going to be podcast episode number 11 for my podcast, No Value Added Business Advisory. And of course, that is wrong. I do add tons of value to my clients, and it's a little tongue-in-cheek title there that someone mentioned to me, and I liked it, so I kept it. And I have realized, I'm looking at different topics to speak about and look at the podcasting industry, and I realized I just sort of started this. Soon I'll be starting with interviews and interviewing other people to get other points of views. But I just sort of ran with the idea, and a lot of people might not know me. So this podcast is going to be about Tim Brien. And I am a #1 best-selling author in the categories of small business and startup businesses with a book that just came out. It's on Amazon, Designing a Better Business, an entrepreneurial guide to navigate from startups to sustained growth. And so I'm going to read a little excerpt because I actually got interviewed for my chapter, Meet Tim Brien, and did the introduction and acknowledgments on my own. So I'm going to do a little real excerpt from the book this time because I played around a couple weeks ago with an excerpt, which really wasn't one, but this time it's going to be real. And the Meet Tim Brien portion is my being interviewed by the publisher, and I'll stick to it as good as well as I can, because if I don't stick to a script still, like some people can ad-lib real well, I digress too much and then I lose focus. So I will keep to the book as much as I can, but if I feel there's something interesting, I'll intersperse that as well. So this is me, Tim Brien. And the introduction, I've evolved throughout my career from a numbers guy to a numbers guy working with business owners to a trusted business advisor for business owners, which is what I currently do in Brien's Business Umbrella. It's happened for a couple important reasons. As I began working with business owners, particularly small business owners, my niche, also my micro niche is landscapers and service contractors. So during this, I saw on a first-hand basis the challenges they face. And being a small business owner, I face the same ones. But more important, I saw the dedication and determination it takes to overcome those obstacles. Working with them helped me develop a true passion for helping them not just survive, but thrive in this difficult arena. And I've done that for many of my clients over the years. And as like I said, a small business owner myself, I've also had to overcome many of these challenges. So in addition to providing the financial services my clients need, I can also help others by sharing my own experiences. And that's actually what led me to this book. As I've worked with my clients and helped them manage and grow their businesses, there have been questions I wasn't able to answer. I'm an experienced accountant and business advisor, but I'm not an attorney. I don't sell insurance or real estate. So also many of my clients work with homeowners or other businesses in specialized areas, like as I mentioned, landscaping, architecture, and design. And the fact is, there are times only someone who has been through what you've been through in your type of business can provide the insights that you need to overcome a particular challenge. So I realized it would be extremely beneficial to have all those insights from experts, other professionals, and other business owners in one place. And this place is my book. The interviews I conducted provide a wealth of information. The people I interviewed willingly shared their experience and their expertise. And through the feedback I've gotten, there's a lot to learn from all these interviews. You'll get advice on the steps that you should take and the ones that you should avoid. So that was the premise of the book and just the introduction to the 15 interviews that I conducted with very successful businesses throughout the area. And the first chapter is myself. And it's going to be, not a life story. I'm not going to go through all that, but it's a little premise on meet Tim Brien and what I'm about and what the publisher took from interviewing me and felt worthy to be put in my book. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what you're thinking. Okay, who's Tim Brien? Why is he doing this book? And more important, he's an accountant. How interesting can he be? They're all good questions, and it's logical to be asking them, but let me tackle them in reverse order. Yes, I'm an accountant, but I'm not what most people think of when they think of accountants. Granted, I do love working with numbers, but I'm certainly not a bean counter. One of the nicest compliments I've ever received is, you're not stuffy like a quote-unquote normal accountant. And I actually had to have that edited because I don't feel accountants are really stuffy at all, but they took that, took it, put it in the book. So I had them soften that up a little bit with normal accountants and stuffiness. They're actually quite a breed apart and really funny. It's a very stressful industry to be in because you're dealing with people's money, bank accounts, livelihood. So it's a lot of stress, and accountants are really actually pretty funny. It's just a different set of sense of humor. So anyway, what I really like is to work with business owners, get down to the nitty-gritty, and help them come up with ways to run their business better. I look for ways to increase efficiency and profits, have more time to do what they enjoy, and have more fun. I certainly enjoy that, and isn't that something that we all want? We want to have fun. As for why I'm writing this book, to me it's the next logical step in my efforts to help business owners have better businesses. It helps me to get advice from people who have been where you are. It helps to learn how others have overcome the types of challenges we all face every day. And the people I interviewed share insights and information that will be beneficial to anyone who owns a business, whether you're trying to grow it or thinking about selling it. Which brings me back to your first question, who am I? How did I get to this point in my life and my career? In both cases, it's been an interesting journey with a few detours along the way. Started in New York City, Yonkers to be exact, where I was born. But I was only there until I was 2 due to my father being relocated in his main profession as a juvenile probation officer, which led us to Buffalo. And so for all intents and purposes, I'm a native Western New Yorker. And I, where you're from? Buffalo. Boom. Proud of it, love it. Where did I grow up? The answer, believe it or not, is it all depends. I'm from the east side, but I'm actually Cheektowaga with the Buffalo zip code 14215, Kensington and Eggert, Kensington and Bailey area. But in the section of town where Cheektowaga, Buffalo, and Amherst all come together, one block is one town, the next block is something else. It was a very diverse way to grow up. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. And I think it helped me throughout my career. I am a graduate a proud graduate of St. Joseph's Collegiate Institute, the Mecca of Kenmore. I love it there. I took a lot of business and accounting courses, so I got off to an early start on a career in business. I played a lot of sports. Loved my Little League baseball experience. Was lucky enough to attend a lot of pro sporting events, as my father had a second job as a ticket taker for the Bills, Sabres, Braves, Bisons. So I went to all the games. Love it there. Love the Odd Club. I got to go to as many games as I wanted to, sat wherever I wanted to. Is a nice perk of having a father with such an awesome part-time job. When college came, I started SUNY Geneseo, but sadly, not as a business major, despite my interest in high school. I decided to go into psychology and sociology, which turned out to not be the best idea. I feel part of it was the schedule I set up for myself, because I'm not really a morning person. I had all morning classes. But I also, turns out, did not like the courses that well. So I dropped out of college after a semester to rethink things, and that was my first detour. Then I came to my senses and did what I should have done in the first place, which was go to college for business. I transferred to Medaille College, where I got my bachelor's degree, and then ultimately my MBA in business administration. I began my career in banking. I started, if you're from Buffalo, you've heard this bank before, Marine Midland Bank. And then they became HSBC, and I stayed with them through that. Then they became First Niagara and now KeyBank, but I stayed only till HSBC with year 2K work. I worked in the downtown tower where the subway goes underneath. It was a great place for all the sporting events. And I started at the bottom, not the bottom of the tower, an entry-level position, and worked my way up. But banks aren't the best paying employers unless you're pretty high up, which I wasn't. So I took a recruiting position with a computer management consulting firm. That was detour number 2. And as it turned out, I was pretty good at recruiting. It was a combination of phone sales and consulting, matching people's skills with the company's needs. There was also an accounting component, since my area was helping companies with IT needs find people to implement accounting systems. It was actually going pretty well, but 9/11 impacted our business like it did many others. I could have stayed with the company, but that would have meant moving to Tampa. And my wife and I decided we didn't want to leave Western New York, so I skipped that detour. But this was the impetus for me to really focus on accounting and bookkeeping, and got me on a path that led me to where I am now. I started doing individual tax returns, which I still do. And I also worked for 10 plus years as a controller for a manufacturing firm, Bennett Manufacturing in Alton, New York, a great company owned by a very nice gentleman. It was privately owned, but it was unionized, so it brought a great experience for myself. I had a lot of different hats in that within the company. So that combination gave me a lot of experience and know-how that I needed to start my own firm, and I did that in 2015, and I've been on my own ever since. I often tell my clients, you don't know what you don't know. Business owners know a lot about the field they're in, but the financial end of the business can be a big challenge. They didn't take finance and accounting and bookkeeping courses in college, or at least that wasn't the focus. When you start a business, it generally doesn't come with a how-to guide. You can Google it, but there's nothing like having an experienced person such as myself help you around. And I learned that about myself. I'm very good at the technical side in accounting and setting up systems that make sense. I can advise my clients about business structure and efficiency and planning, but alas, I'm not a marketing expert. And having always been an employee, I had trouble with the marketing aspect. So I had great processes set up, but I've had to spend much too much time on client acquisition and not enough time working for clients. That's an important lesson that I've learned, and I help others with that now. Something else I've learned along the way is how much of an impact I can have on my clients and how rewarding that is. I learned that with a client who's been with me from the beginning. He owns a business in Western New York, was originally from down south North Carolina, and still had a lot of loose ends out of state. And I'm big on going paperless and having automated systems, thus my work in the cloud. But he handed me a shoebox filled with several years' worth of receipts and tax papers. I had to go through it all, sort it out, file tax returns that hadn't been filed. But I got him caught up, helped him avoid some issues with the IRS, and laid out a plan for going forward. He is still a happy client, and he doesn't have to worry anymore. In fact, this is how I know he's happy, is that he told me, I don't exactly understand everything you do, but whatever you're doing is awesome. I don't get those nasty letters from the IRS anymore, or New York State or North Carolina, which is true. He's getting them quite often. Everything's filed and where it's supposed to be, so whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And that's what any accountant would like to hear from a client. It often surprises people just how detail-oriented I am. I know people think that's what an accountant should be. Well, when I meet with a client and go over their taxes and do it line by line and explain why we did certain things and didn't take certain deductions, many are surprised. I've often heard my last guy didn't do that. And when I did start, I was at Jackson Hewitt for a little bit, and they have continuous surveys, and that was something that was always on my review, is that he's very thorough with going over the return. So the franchise owner, let me know and complimented me on that. And it still wasn't enough to make me stay, though. I like it much better on my own. But anyway, we expect good customer service, and that's what I thrive to do. Is I try go above and beyond and give great customer service with. I try and do very short turnaround time, and sometimes that makes my life more stressful, but I try and do my best with that, because I know if you get a letter from the IRS, it's nerve-wracking, and I know how to handle it and what it really means, and everyone's just scared, oh my gosh, there's going to be a huge audit, and that's generally not the case, but even if it is, we work through it together. So I like to think my level of service is one of the things that differentiates me. As busy as I am, when a client has a question, I respond in a timely fashion. I may not have their answer right away, but I let them know that I'll get it as quickly as I can. Then when I do have that answer, just like when I explain the taxes, I make sure to do it in a way that a layperson can understand. I wouldn't want to be talked down to, and I would never do that to my clients. And then let me go to the issue of not knowing what you don't know. It amazes me how many successful business owners don't use an accountant. They think that they can do it themselves. You see the commercials for QuickBooks or TurboTax, and I am, my specialty is in with QuickBooks Online by Intuit, but they make it seem like anyone can do it. Can you do your own books? Yes. Can you do your own taxes? Sure. But you're just plugging numbers in a computer system, and you can move things around to make sure that it balances, but that doesn't mean it's right. It certainly doesn't mean that it's the best result for you. And another big mistake they make is going the cheap route, using their uncle, unless, of course, he really is an accountant. You get the point. And I say that because one of the people interviewed in the book, his uncle is a CPA, so of course he's qualified. But again, you get the point. To do their taxes or hiring a kid just out of school, I was that kid, but I'm not anymore. And there are things you learn through years of experience and years of ongoing education that you just don't know right off the bat. I don't charge the lowest rates. I'm not overpriced. You get what you pay for. And I'm excellent at my job. I've been a controller now for 15 plus years. I've done payroll, pen to paper, so I know how to do everything properly, efficiently now. And I'm providing a very good value because you're getting my experience and knowledge. And when I go to a prospective client with a proposal, I try to show the value of what I can do, how it can help them, and how it can turn their business around. There's value to getting good financial reporting, minimizing your taxes, maximizing your profits. That's another way that I differentiate myself. I am a proponent of a profit-first methodology. That means we move money so that you're paying yourself first. Most people look at their situation in a traditional way. Revenue, less expenses equal profit. However, like I said, I make sure my clients get paid first. I do it because when businesses seem successful and the money is coming in, it's just going out the same way because they're doing things the traditional way through the traditional accounting equation. With the pay yourself first process, we take the profits and put them away for each quarter and have a bonus for each partner, no matter how many partners there are. They still have, don't get me wrong, they still have the same amount of money. The revenue is the revenue. So they're still running the business and they're certainly still paying their bills. But since I've flipped the equation, they have to find money to still be able to do all this. So that this leads to innovations in the processes they're using to get stuff done. It forces them to become more efficient and it makes them function better as a business. Again, there's value to that in what I do, and I can come up with solutions today that I couldn't come up years ago, and not what you can get from the your standard bookkeeper. I'm much more experienced and well versed than that. In fact, a lot of my clients came to me because they made that cheap choice, and when things got messed up, they needed someone to fix it for them, and then they come to me. So I get a lot of my business comes from having to clean stuff up, and then they like the customer service they get, and we forged a great partnership. And I do love a challenge, and that's what gets me excited about coming to work in the morning. If I know that I have a challenge ahead of me, especially a significant one, I look forward to the process of going through that, overcoming the challenge and providing a solution that makes someone relieved or happy. And I mentioned earlier that I'm not what most people perceive an accountant to be. Let's face it. As I mentioned, accountants are not known, even though I know it's different, are not known as the most exciting personalities, although I know that is not a fair characterization. Many in this profession are, or are perceived to be, on the dull side. When I worked for the manufacturing company, the HR manager once said to me, "You're different than most accountants. You're not a normal accountant. You have a sense of humor. You're funny." Now, they're not going to confuse me with a stand-up comedian, but I do like to laugh, and I take my work seriously, but I enjoy myself, and I can't just sit there and drone on and on about accounting and this and that all day. It sucks the life out of me. So I like to laugh, and my mother feels unfortunate, but I have a very sarcastic sense of humor, which she lets me know day in and day out for the 51 years I've been on this earth. And I love her very much, and I'm very sarcastic. But that's one of the many reasons my ideal client is based more on mindset than money. Yes, I'd like to work with bigger businesses with bigger budgets, but I also rather work with someone who has an idea of what they want, is willing to listen to my suggestions, and is willing to pay for the value. They don't have to go along with everything I suggest, but they have to listen, preferably. They give me the benefit of the doubt to at least be able to show them. If I had it my way, I am a controller by nature, so I'd run the whole thing rather than monitor and watch things go astray and then have to come in and fix it. My ideal client is someone who's going to let me use the automation and the new technology to become as paperless as possible. They'll let me do the accounting and the bookkeeping and wrap it up all myself, so we're going in a good direction and they can grow their business. And I like to look at it as more of a collaboration and a partnership. If they're doing better, they see my value, they'll continue to want to work with me, they'll get the value, and I'll get paid accordingly. and we're in this together, going in the right direction. Which brings me back to the book. I work with a lot of businesses. I work with homeowners, landscapers, architects, contractors, etc. My goal is to help them grow their business and overcome the unique challenges facing this niche. The interviews in this book, which hopefully you will get or have read already, build on that and provide them with valuable insights on how to do things differently. And that is what this book is about, what I'm about as far as my business goes. I am in Buffalo, New York. I'm actually in Lockport nowadays, the town of. So I'm right on I straddle Niagara and Erie County. And this actually was a very exciting and special project for me. It combines my love for my craft with my passion for helping other small business owners succeed and find viable ways to improve their business and potentially change their lives in a meaningful way. If I'm helping them, it ultimately helps me, and that feels pretty good. Of course, I do thank, it's a little of the acknowledgments here, all the talented, successful professionals who participated and agreed to be interviewed. I am eternally grateful to them for sharing their vast knowledge and experiences, and I dedicate this book to my terrific parents, my late father, William, and my mother, who's in St. Pete, Judith Brien, who afforded me every opportunity to succeed and flourish through love and discipline. They were always there for me to guide me through whatever I needed. I didn't always follow the roadmap as they designed it, but I am incredibly lucky to have been blessed with two outstanding, caring human beings as parents, and hope they enjoy this effort. I did show this, like the initial print for my approval, to my mother when she was here for my daughter's birthday, and she did enjoy it. I could tell by the tears rolling down her face, so that was nice. My father is long passed. However, about 5 years ago, I started making a conscious point to try to talk to him every day. And when I decided to do this, it improved my spirit and therefore gave me a better direction than where I was heading. And I love them both very much. And when that came about, when I started to decide to do that, my mother and I had a good relationship, but it went to a better level. As a little, like I said, I am still sarcastic, but it's a little bit less dark humor, more lighthearted. So we're all happy about that, including myself. And if you haven't read the book, do so. No, I'm just... If you haven't read it, it's published by Market Domination, another great local Western New York company. I work directly with the owner, Seth Green, and his marketing people, Bruce Corris, Tim Brien, and Kristen Watt. They're excellent. I recommend them highly. They're extremely supportive, and they're going to be doing some post-publication in the future going forward. And, lastly, I have two lovely ladies in my life, my daughter, Olivia, my wife, Jennifer. I thank God each and every day for blessing me with the gift of having them in my life. They're both beautiful, smart, funny, and kind-spirited souls. So, through the marriage, I have obtained a great stepson, Jason, and I now have a granddaughter that I love very much, Adriana. But it's Jennifer who gave me the precious gift of my daughter, Olivia. And Olivia makes our lives complete, and she's like an angel living amongst us here on earth. She's a tremendous mother, a fabulous wife, an incredible soul. She stood by me and believed in me, and has given me incredible love and support as I try and build my business. And she's 100% supportive. And I cannot tell you, I had limited space for this portion, and it was impossible to just say how lucky I am, how lucky I know I am, and how much I value her love, friendship, and the laughs that we share. And through her, God has shown me favor, and that makes me very happy to the lives that we forged and the path that we're heading. And hopefully that gives you a little insight into me. Dedicated business owner, trying to help small businesses overcome the challenges that they face by giving them good, sound business advice and taking the burden of the back office needs. It's a necessary part of business, the accounting, the income taxes, the payroll, all that's necessary. But unless it's your core competency, as it is in my firm, in reality, then a business should not. It's proven time and again that a business that's not in that, the business owner should not be doing that on their own. It's not effective. They say it's cost effective, but it's costing you so much time and insecurity, not knowing whether you're doing it right, that it's something that you should outsource to a professional. And you're not going to, in my humble opinion, find anyone better than me to help you with this. I can run the full gamut of the back office. So you can get in touch with me to set up a strategy call and see if our needs and see if we fit as clients to one another. And my number is 716-727-8844. Or you can go on my website and fill out the appointment schedule. That's Brian's Business Umbrella, BRIENS, businessumbrella.com. And again, this is Tim Brien with episode number 11 about my favorite topic, me. I hope you enjoyed it. A little insight. And with that, I will end this episode, and next one will be more businessy. So I hope you have a great night, and until next time, thank you.